I'm here with Carrie Stapp, Co-op Solutions Vice President of Integrated Marketing. And Carrie, this morning you discussed some of the proprietary research you did with E&Y. And one of the things you talked about was the changing definition of consumer trust and financial well-being. Do you want to dig a little deeper on that for us and talk about it?
Yeah, this was a really important finding out of our research, where we started to take a look at not just the products and services that they wanted their financial provider to offer, but what are the behaviors they're looking to have solved. And so as we asked these questions and we asked them, who's your primary financial provider? One of the biggest things we saw was trust growing in fintechs and trust decreasing in credit unions specifically. And so what we started to find was this evolving definition of trust, where we, and as credit union leaders, have typically said, trust in privacy and security and data and having my best interest at heart has really been the backbone of what has made up that definition of trust. And what consumers are now telling us is that convenience and ease of use is rivaling that traditional definition. And so they're not trusting that credit unions are going to bring them the tools that they need to make their lives convenient and to make their financial services easy to use. Still trusting credit unions to have their best interest at heart in data privacy and security, but because that is now rivaled by that convenience and ease of use, that's where trust is starting to wane and fintechs are winning. And then that leads then to financial well-being, because their lives are so disaggregated, and I'm managing all of these subscription payments or PayPal, Venmo, all of these ways that I live my life every day in the daily active engagement. And it's not now just about planning for retirement or buying a home. It's about managing my money in, managing my money out. And so financial well-being also brings in that topic of daily active engagement to help me manage what's happening for me today so that I can build towards those long-term future goals. And so those two evolving definitions are really, really important for credit union leaders to start to embrace and understand, to truly be able to say you're member-centric.
And you gave a little anecdote about how the daily active engagement, how the solutions that you offer at Co-op help consumers prepare, and there's a constancy in their life. Do you want to tell a little bit about that?
Yeah, we're referring to that now as daily constancy. And so when you think about traditional products that credit unions have been built on, lending products, both consumer mortgage lending, savings accounts, and you think about how often do I think about my loans or my savings accounts, it's not every day. It doesn't happen for me every day. I drive my car every day, but I make a payment once a month, and a lot of times that's automated. What is happening for me every day is I leave my home, I go through Starbucks, or I grab a coffee somewhere. I'm making that payment either in-app or I'm swiping a card, get gas, get groceries, pay for something at my kid's school. And so payments are behind what's happening for me and allows me to live my life every day as I move from place to place. And so that's really that daily constancy that needs to happen in order to get that engagement. Not just from are they using me, but also that insight that comes along, that data that comes along with all of that transaction to help me understand, what are my members doing every day? What are the problems that they're encountering, and how do I help them solve it? If we're focused on products that we're considering passive instead of daily active, then we don't have not only the touch point with them every day, but we also don't have the insights that we need about how you're living your life, which is what consumers are now come to expect, right? Every time I buy something, even in the e-commerce world, there's a recommendation of the next thing, or an email comes to me. And so This is what we're used to in our lives. So it's really about bringing it into that daily active engagement, but yet being behind the scenes with that is really super important.
So, big takeaway, how can credit unions differentiate themselves from fintech?
So I think there's two things. Number one is the equity that they have already built in the trust factor in the traditional sense that hasn't gone away. And so you have a younger demographic that wants to be connected to brand, that wants to have an affinity for companies that are doing the right thing. And that is everything that credit unions are. But they aren't bringing me the tools that I need. And so our research, we actually developed 2 different tactics that we're saying. First is, number one, develop those daily and digital tools that my credit
Sure.
union, whatever my segment is that I'm servicing, whether it's hospital workers or municipality workers or teachers or students, understand your segment and how they want to use and how I get to be that daily constant with them. And then it's not enough to just have those products. We have to educate them, we have to engage them, and we have to embed it in their lives. So how then, second step of that is to, how do I get the active engagement of that and encourage them to use it? How do I get them to understand this makes their lives easier and better, and let me be the hub for all of this disaggregation you have going on in your life?
So when they talk about meeting members where they are, that's what
It's
it is.
and it's why a lot of the theme of our think has been around what we're calling the new member centricity. It's an agenda, right? Know your members like never before, and then meet them in the moments that matter most, which is every day, my everyday life.
Right.
And then bring me the technology, converge, and bring that connection so that me as a member, I'm connected to you, and all of my life is connected in a centralized hub.